So yeah, before I forget, right, we're gonna start it off with the quote of the day from Mr. Michael Crockett, right? It's ego and pride are two of the worst human traits ever. All right, let me repeat that. Ego and pride are two of the worst human traits ever. Shout out to Mr. Michael Crockett with the quote of the day. Let me read that one more time like we in church, right? Ego and pride are two of the worst human traits ever. I'm gonna leave it at that for right now. Yeah, you're looking at Bayonetta, right? And no, it's not on the Switch 2. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Of course, I'm going to title this, something like, it looks amazing on the Switch 2, or it's gorgeous on the Switch 2, right? Because I don't even know if I can look all that up right now and see if it's even available on the Switch. It might not be. But this is I have this on the Wii U. So you're looking at a Wii U image right now. This is the hardware that failed, and to me, it's the most. It is my favorite gaming console. It's top three. All right. Sometimes it's the Super NES. Sometimes it's this one, and then other times it's the Switch. I guess the Wii. The Wii is alright. The Wii sold just as well as the Switch. The Wii U didn't sell well, so they were all nervous about the Switch 2 not selling well. But from my understanding, it's the early adapters are going to run out there and get it, and to sit back and listen to people talk good and bad about it is hilarious to me. It looks dope to me. As a note, it comes with a screen protector. Make sure you don't take the screen protector off. Nintendo made an announcement saying that it's so that the screen doesn't get shatterproof. Like, I guess the kids are getting it and they're taking it off to play without the screen, and that's the worst thing you can do with a kid on that system. You know what I mean? All because it's really not. The Switch 2 isn't for children. That's the one thing that I kept pushing. Like, yo, this is actually the Cadillac. This is for adults only, really. I get one for my son, but he's ready for one. But I want I want us to work hard for it. I want us to, sell bean pies on the corner or whatever we have to do in order to save up our little cash, make $1,000, and go get it together. You know what I mean? Hey, you get one, I get one. Now let's go take over the world with them. Especially when we build the friend codes with our current systems. So there it is. That's how I want to do it. Of course, other parents are just, if your kids is getting straight A's and doing everything, they right, they deserve it. You say they deserve it, yeah. But understand that they might take that screen protector off, and as soon as they drop it, it's over, right? Because that's supposed to help protect it from drops and putting a pin to it real hard or something like that it's going to crack that screen. That screen is actually not plastic. Underneath is actually glass. So it is like the Cadillac of Nintendo's now. I think it was originally supposed to be in the Switch. I think it really is just, we're playing the Switch Pro. And the concept or idea was to be an extension of what the OLED was, but since they made it a bigger size, they figured, hey, let's distinguish it as a different brand new console that way. So that's why they call it the Switch 2. They could have called it the Super Switch or whatever, but or the Ultra. What's the Ultra 64? Is that? Oh, that's this phone. The GameCube is part 2 to the Ultra, to the Nintendo 64, and then the Wii U is for the Wii. So, I rambled about that a long time ago already. But yeah, let me get back to the topic at hand, because Mr. Mike, shout out, he's his daughter, shout out to Nene, right? She has a turntable, so One of these days we're gonna get Nene turntables, and I'm gonna get her to do some DJing for us. But one day at a time, and because these are some of the things that I want to do on Volo Television, Volo TV. But I'm in the habit of sharing this to Facebook right now too, like little 10-15 minute videos, just to get my video counts up. I'm trying to get to 1,000 videos. I'm only at 320. I think this might be my 320th one. And there it is. There it is. Oh, this is a Sega game. So this is why my son might be a little familiar with it. And I'm just letting it run. I could play some. It's showing gameplay on its own. People that are familiar with it. Because y'all know what I do. I just get on here to rap real quick. And really I'm talking about hip hop. Hip hop is the culture, is the community, consciousness, and culture. Gaming is a subset. So hip hop is some people want to say it's a genre of music. It's also a genre of gaming, I guess, right? Because Papa the Rapper is a game that I think I'm gonna try to get a little gameplay of that. If not today, maybe tomorrow, of Papa the Rapper and talk about that game. But there's a lot of games like I shared some of the. I might do some of the breakdance game today. There it is, Floor Kids. So I might do some Floor Kids today, just to if I can do Break Street, then I'll do some Break Street 2, and that's an old game on the Commodore 64. Just to show that hey, hip hop as a culture has been a part of gaming from the beginning too, just like like it is with music and like it is with movies. Some movies are considered hip hop genre in music, especially if they're breaking, dancing, singing, etc., etc. But when you had the Spike Lee was being like the first, I would say Spike Lee is the first hip hop director. Like he brought a different element, and the element was hip hop. Even in his first movie, he played a character named Blackman or something like that. I gotta watch the movie again. Where he's the thug. He's the Pookie and the Ray Ray. Like he plays the character. Mars Blackman is the name, right? So, and then in his second movie, School Days, he played the freshman trying to get over on trying to pledge in a fictitious fraternity called G5G, Gamma Phi Gamma or something like that, right? But then you still had the real fraternities in there too, and the Kappas, the Alphas, the Omegas, the Qs, Iotas I'm familiar with too, right? And the Sigmas. Is that all of them? That's the five guys, and then the girls is I'm gonna struggle with the girls, the Deltas, the AKAs. Forgive me, ladies, but it's 9 of them together, and they make up the Divine Nine. So whenever I talk about the Divine Nine, you were talking about the black fraternities and sororities, and the 4 main ones doesn't really include the Iotas, which is the youngest one, youngest black fraternity. They still was around in the 60s or whatever. I used to study the dates and everything about the different fraternities. I already knew the Greek alphabet pretty good because I'm a math major, so I was already good with that. But when it came to actually pledging, I thought about it, had opportunities to, I guess. But in the end, I came out to be more like Dak from the movie, the guy that tried to bring those that didn't pledge together with those that pledged. Like, so I was at my last years at Kutztown, I found myself living with a Kappa and a Q, and we were the black fraternity house. Like, hey, that might have been officially the first black fraternity house in the history of, and that's 163 on Main Street, right? That might have been the first black fraternity house. Well, no, the Iotas was there first. My fault, Iotas. Y'all was there first, so y'all got the official black fraternity house. I'm sure Sean Jones and them. Shout out to the Iotas. Sean lived off campus. I don't know if what's the name lived with him. I'm forgetting names right now. forget my brain, because I really wanted to just rap about pride versus ego, and therein is where we get into a conflict. That's why I've been saying false pride as the connector. And what I mean by connector is in like basic mathematics. If I say 3 plus 5, right, you get 8. If I say 3 times 5, you get 15. So you can see multiplication is bigger than, for the most part, except for when you're dealing with numbers like 1 or 0. Then like 0 times any number is 0. 1 times any number is that same number, kind of a thing. That kind of change, because you're dealing with dimensions when you're talking about multiplication, whereas addition, 5 plus 1 is you're adding on 6, and then 5 plus 0 you're not adding on, it's still 5, kind of a thing. All right, so 0 and 1 are unique when it comes to addition and multiplication. That's easy to understand. Now, when you're dealing in a grammatical mathematics, and becomes a conflict, because what does and really mean? Right? So if I say 5 and 3, am I saying 8 or am I saying 15? Right? And it gets a lot worse when you do bigger numbers, right? So 2 and 12 is 14, or is it 2 and 12, 24? And you can see how with being a product or multiplication, you're growing a lot more exponentially than you are with addition. Addition doesn't grow. And that's when we start talking about calculus ideas and understanding limits. But we'll get into that I'm trying to, as slow as possible, understanding the basics. The same concept can happen in logics. It's just that with logic, now you're dealing with not, or, and, if, then, if and only if, right? Nor kind of a thing. And these are called Boolean algebraic, logic or whatever, right? And now we're dealing with the art of logical thinking, or the laws of reasoning, when it comes to explaining this kind of mathematics. I like to see it more epistemologically. Others like to see it more metaphysically, right? And therein is we're sitting back looking at the war between psychology or philosophy. Conflict maybe being psychology and philosophy. Therein is the ego and pride. What are we really saying? When Mr. Michael said that, is it multiplication we're looking at, or are we looking at the addition of the two? And you can see both of them being quote unquote negative, but that's not the negation of the power of it. When you deal with multiplication, it is a trick in thinking that negative and a negative, now you're dealing with a power, and you switch the directions, but you really don't. And therein is that's where people get confused in understanding how contradiction really works between illogical, or should I say logical thinking and the art of it, or the laws of reasoning. See, the laws of reasoning, we're dealing more with a biblical ideology. That's when you're dealing with do not kill, do not steal, do not, right? But when you're talking to an idiot, right, they go do not kill, and they still strangle somebody. Like, nah, that's not what I meant, right? So that's where I simplified the 10 Commandments, and I say live life, right? It should be easy to understand. Like, don't kill. Like, I mean, yeah, that should be, you know what I mean? But when you're dealing with children, like my mom used to say to me, don't kill your brother. Say, I'm not going to kill him. I'm just going to strangle him a little bit. You know what I mean? Kind of a thing. So that's when you're dealing with children. Yeah, you do have to talk to them like that. But when you're dealing with, hopefully adolescence is the transformation to adulthood. Now you're looking at, you shouldn't no longer have to say do not kill. You just say live life, enjoy it, right? But if somebody attacks you, then you have the right to put hands back on them. And when we put hands on each other, somebody might seriously get hurt. Therein is the issue of where I'm seeing people propagating or promoting the violence, you know, and we're not really seeing that in hip hop. The only two that they're really talking about is Kendrick Lamar and Drake. Notice they're not talking about Big Daddy Kane and KRS One. Like they're trying to. Like the one that I saw was Chuck D and Professor Griff, but they had beef for 20, 30 years now, right? Ever since he kicked him out of the group, and it was, you know, I mean, because Professor Griff is more, let's say, Eastern philosophical methodology in thought, and Chuck D is more Western psychological in thought. Even though I am putting that Western psychological ideology as the culture, because therein is where Chuck D, KRS One, um, what is his name? I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Give me. Now I want to say Kumo D, but not Kumo. Kumo D is a part of that too. MC Light is a part of it too. But geez, he was just on the Breakfast Club. My bad. Basketball is my favorite sport, and it make me pull up and down the court. Now I gotta sing a little bit of his rhymes before it hits me in my head. But y'all know who I'm talking about. And Curtis Blow. My fault to the legend Curtis Blow. You are top 10, but I do include you more so in what I'm calling Def Jam Zero with the LL Cool J's, the Run DMCs, the Sugar Hill Gang. You know what I mean? That before we really, this is our culture. This is going to be our label. You know what I mean? Like Sugar Hill Gang, Sugar Hill was our label, but they kind of sold out. Even Def Jam sold out, but you know, BET sold out. Like, you know what I mean? And we're continuing to sell out, and that's where we're going. And then once you see the sellout, that's why Griff has issues with Chuck D, is because Chuck D kind of sold out with the idea of Elvis was a hero the most, but he never meant to me straight up racist. The sucker was simple and plain. Forget him and John Wayne, like pointing the finger at racism and saying, yo, that's not hip hop right there. What y'all doing is in hip hop. Y'all, you know, you stole that culture. Like Eminem doesn't say that he stole the culture. Eminem still shows respect to Reggie Noble. You know what I mean? He still shows respect to, you know, the whole East Coast. Like he's like, no. Dre then me, or even Snoop Dogg then me. Like 50 Cent then, like he like, you know, he might say, you know, I battle 50 Cent. He don't, you know what I mean? But it'll be more so out of fun. You know what I mean? You don't see him really coming at too many rappers next like that. And you know, he did come after the old heads, because like Melly Mel, because you know Melly Mel is, hey, but it wasn't disrespectful. Disrespectful. You know what I mean? That's what you'll notice about M, and that's why M's a good dude. I just don't like M coming at Trump, because it's like, M, don't do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like we get it, but we need you to help white people understand it's not just about beef. That's the challenge that M has. And that's a way more bigger challenge than anything that Chuck D has to do, right? Chuck D's trying to show that it's not about beef. But you know, here's Professor Griff trying to, you know, create beef with his own brother, and that's when we as hip hop had to get together. Hey, yo, in the same room, Chuck, what's your name? Close the door, settle that shit. We'll be back, right? And it was no judge, no jury, right? Y'all know y'all need to fix that. And Chuck, yeah, you do need to. If you're the president of Hip Hop Alliance, be the president of Hip Hop Alliance. Forget them Democrats, because they're nothing more than Dixiecrats. Yes, we understand 85 to 95% of the Republicans are Dixiecrats too. We understand that. But some of them understand what the Republican Party was actually trying to do, be the party of liberation. And that's using knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to help everyone achieve freedom, justice, and equality. One God, our Father, all the time. Hip hop life, love one. That's God is love. Hip hop is life. Time is holy. Money is nothing more than the fourth dimensional illusion that really doesn't exist. 20 minutes. I went overtime for you. I will rap to y'all later. I might do 2-3 more of these things. I'm trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. 1,000 videos by the end of the year. Help my quest. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, and all the above. Peace.